Hello, and welcome to the Table Football Podcast, a podcast set up to discuss both football and Roundtable. Roundtable and Ladies Circle are national organisations which aim to raise money for local charities, support their local communities, and promote lifelong friendships which span across towns, counties, and nations. If you are between the ages of 18 and 45, are looking to do more with your spare time, enhance your social life, and do some positive things for your local community, Roundtable and Ladies Circle are always looking for new members. Visit our website at www.roundtable.co.uk for more information. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Roundtable Football Podcast. You're here with me, Shepp, and of course my co-host Tris, as we dive into episode 3 of season 2.
Yeah, that's right. So today we are crossing the border to explore all things Welsh football, from the rich history of the national team to the rise of the clubs like Wrexham and Cardiff City, as well as some of the lesser known teams in the world of Welsh football.
And to help us on this journey, we've got a very special guest joining us. They know Welsh football inside out, and we can't wait to pick their brains on the passion and the culture that drives the game in Wales, with a few customary sheep jokes thrown in for humour purposes.
Yeah, that's probably a good thing, because I know bugger all about Welsh football. But do make sure you grab your headphones, settle in with a brew or maybe a beer, and let's get started with the special Welsh edition of the Table Football Podcast.
How you doing, Jess?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Yeah, you?
Good. I should probably say we are recording this today. It is what's the date today? Tuesday the
8th
of October. So we've just come to the end of the well, not the end. It's nowhere near the end. Sorry, of the domestic season. We've got the end of the domestic games and it back into the international break, which is
yet another international break, which seems like 2 minutes since we had the last one.
Yeah, I absolutely hate them now. Every time I feel like you must feel like that. You must be more gutted than me, because Everton have actually started playing all right for the first time all season, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, sort of unbeaten in 3, and we just start to build up that little bit of momentum, and then all of a sudden it's like rug ripped from under you, and it's like, okay, everybody buggers off for like a week and a half, and then they come back, and it's like, yeah, what's actually going to happen in terms of that momentum? It kind of cuts things short, and I think there's been a lot of discussion, hasn't there, recently about just too many games. It seems to keep coming up time and time again that players are now just facing with too many games. And I was actually listening to Radio 5 Live on the way home, with obviously some sort of like the female Champions League, the Women's Champions League is on tonight, Chelsea playing Real Madrid. And they're saying the same in the women's sport as well, that, player welfare just doesn't seem to be on the agenda of UEFA at the moment, which I guess is something we can probably get into on maybe another podcast, maybe. But yeah, international breaks, I don't like them. There's just too many. It's this Nations League thing. It detracts from the sort of domestic league, which we're all invested in. It's just constant interruption.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we could do a whole episode on that, couldn't we? About, fundamentally, because was it Rodri who came out and said that he was the one that said that players are going to start going on strike, and everyone went, "Oh, they can't. They earn too much money." And but then fundamentally, it doesn't matter how much money you earn; you are still a human being, and the physical capabilities,
physical capabilities and physical limits, isn't it? But you look at sort of like, they're playing sort of like a game on a Saturday or Sunday, and then being expected to play midweek with minimal recovery time, and then straight back at it on a Saturday, and it's just. And it's a physically demanding game, particularly at that level. It's not like we're talking Sunday League, where it's all right, you can go to training, and you go to training once a week, you turn up for your game on a Sunday, and then that's it until you go training again. These guys train pretty much 7 days a week, and you've got to factor that in. And I guess for managers and things like that, it's really difficult.
So talk us through your shirt. Is that a new one? Have you worn that one before? I can't remember.
I have worn this one before. I've literally just got home from work and jumped on to record the podcast. So yeah, I'm with the 90s sort of replica, sort of the NEC. Well, it's not even 90s, it's 80s era of the Everton shirt. I just couldn't bear to wear any of the ones from recent seasons because they've all fell apart in the wash. Bits have dropped off them. They're rubbish. So I just decided I'd go with a good old retro sublimation one, and something quite solid.
Very good.
So I'm trying to work out which one yours is. I'm trying to work out, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this one is the Inter Miami stand-up. It's the Inter Miami.
I did wonder if that's what it was.
Kit from last year. I think it might be their away shirt. I think their home shirt is pink. It's the reverse.
It's pink,
pink with the black. So I paid a visit to Classic Football Shirts. The shop. They got a shop in London, I think, and they got a shop in Manchester. And if you like football shirts and you have money, that place is a dangerous place to go.
Yeah, I'm not going to go there. The wife will kill me because I've literally been walking out with multiple shirts.
Yeah,
it's bad enough when I go to like the Everton shop or even into Sports Direct these days because they've got all the classic shirts in there as well. So yeah, kind of get the classic shirts ticked onto the Christmas list and the like birthday list. If you want to buy me something, buy me this shirt, please.
Yeah, I was going to say
13 to 14 boys, but I can't fit into that anymore because I'm far too fat.
Get her to take you there on your birthday. You only get away with doing that once because she'll wise up to it after that. But yeah, drag them down. Yeah. So I've got this one, and I've got these shirts. I've got the Saka shirt behind me because Star Boy and all that.
Yeah, he's doing well at the moment, isn't he?
Banging in the goals and the assists. Yeah.
Yeah, which is good, especially considering I know we talk about it quite often, but Haaland's not really firing, has he? Over the recent few games.
Haaland's this. Yeah, I do understand why people are frustrated with Haaland. He has blanks in 2 game weeks. It's that which is for any other striker, I think, is fairly normal
in the first few weeks. Yeah, it's just my fantasy football took a battering this week. Nothing's gone to plan. It's been a bit of a whitewash, to be fair. We'll put this last game week behind us. International break. We'll see what happens after that. But yeah, it's.
We'll definitely come back to fantasy football. I think at one of the later episodes, maybe during mid-season, because I keep thinking of Spencer's advice from episode 1 that we did, where he kept saying, "Don't worry about the first half of the season. It's just about getting your squad value up." So I keep don't over fixate on things too much. Start worrying about it from January.
To be fair, I'm not doing too bad because I was in it from the start this year. Where past few seasons I've kind of dropped in like game 2, game 3, and so I'm not doing too bad. I'm kind of mid-table at the moment, so I'm happy with that. I'm not rock bottom where I usually am. Bonus improvement. That's all we want to talk about.
Should we introduce our guest?
I guess we should, shouldn't we? Let's pull him in. I'll let you introduce him with some sheep jokes. Must be had.
I haven't pre-prepared any sheep jokes, but if any come to mind, I'll mention it. But so welcome, Cole, from Malden Buckley Roundtable 339. How are you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. Glad to be here.
I see you've got a very exotic shirt there. What shirt are you wearing?
Yeah, it's Wales. Get above my name there. This is Wales away from 94 to 96. It's an original, so it's a horrible polyester one that fills you full of static electricity whenever you walk across carpet in it or anything. So,
but crucially, it doesn't fall apart when you wash it.
No, built to last this stuff, isn't it? I imagine quite flammable.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll put that to the test in a later episode where we try and set one of those on fire.
Oh, it'll go up in no time. I wouldn't stand near a bonfire in it or anything. I'm sure
That feels like kind of a neat link into what Malden Buckley Roundtable have got coming up in the next sort of like month or so with bonfires so close. I don't know if you guys do a bonfire. I know me and Shepp from Penistone and Elland, we do have bonfires. I noticed that Elland have kind of bowed to the peer pressure and done silent fireworks for the kids.
Only for the kids display. We've got 2 displays. Yeah. So we have a children's display, and then after that we have a full display. This year we've done a silent one for it, which is, I mean, the reception on social media has been ridiculous. I think we've got like the post has got 200 shares or something. So it's gone down really well. So the idea is that a lot of people bring really young kids and then they watch the little display and then they go home after that. So best of both worlds.
Yeah, if it works, it works, I guess. Yeah. So, what have you guys got coming up at Malden Buckley? Cool.
We're a bit quiet now, so we have quite a busy summer. We do hog roasts, kind of our famous thing. So we've got quite a lot of smaller towns and villages around our area. So we do a lot of their sort of carnivals and fun days through the summer, and then Christmas we do the sleigh. We're doing a Santa Dash for the first time this year, which we're really looking forward to.
Wow.
And then we do a meal on Christmas Day for people who would be kind of lonely or not having Christmas dinner for any other reason. So
Amazing.
for the last 2 years, this will be the third coming up.
Can you, just for those who don't know, can you just explain what a Santa Dash is? Because I want to,
Right, so,
in my head, I've assumed it's something, but I don't.
right, yeah. So basically, it's a little fun run. So ours is only like 2 kilometers, and you dress up in a polyester Santa suit or like a really horrible felt one, and you go and run it, and we'll give you a medal at the end of it. But it's fun for like all the family, so kids, people in wheelchairs, people pushing push chairs, people who take part with their dog and stuff. So it's something that's been running mold for a few years. It stopped just before COVID, and it's never really got going again. So we've got out, we found some funding from different organisations and stuff, and we're gonna put it on. Hopefully, be a success.
That's brilliant.
So how many guys have you got in Malden Buckley Roundtable?
We got 19 at the moment, so we're doing really well. We had like a real big promotion, big sort of push on membership in sort of late December, January. That really paid off well. We did a new members night with I think about 18 people turned up to it who were brand new, and from that we kind of got we've got about 7 members from that now that joined, and we also got a couple that sort of gave Wrexham the push to start up as well. So really productive night went on there, I think.
Yeah, that's
really they're at 16 members now, and we're just recharted, so we're looking really strong in Area 36 with that as well. So good.
Yeah, so talk us through the sort of like the members night that you put on, because I know obviously there are tables struggling throughout obviously the UK, probably internationally as well, some of which will listen to the podcast. So share with us what you actually did to, what was that new members night? What was the sort of the focus behind it? What did you do?
Yeah, so we the man crash post that kind of went a bit bonkers. We not to sound like too much of a hipster, but we were one of the first table. I've been part of the membership team last year when I was a regional rep, and we did it sort of the end of December and got quite a bit of interest because obviously we're quite fresh in people's mind, having done the sleigh, having done the Christmas meal and stuff. Got a lot of people interested, and we worked out that there's like a date in January where people they get fed up with like dry January and stuff.
Yeah, so Blue Monday.
People who got New Year's resolutions, a lot of it's go and try something new, things like that. So we just did a Thursday night in a local pub. We got some we called it a pub Olympics. We got some games. So we got a bit of like ring toss, dominoes, like a table skittles and stuff. And we just shared that post everywhere we could, and everyone that responded, or everyone that if it's a wife tagging a husband or something, we were just like quite aggressive going after them. Like, come along to this, want to lose. Yeah. So I think we had 18 people there. 11 joined a WhatsApp group for sort of prospects straight away, and about 7 of them joined out of it. So it's put us in a really strong position to kind of do stuff like the Santa Dash this year, which I don't think we'd be able to do otherwise. So I think it's a little bit of work you have to do, perhaps, but I think it's worth it in the future. If you've got more members, you can do more fun stuff, can't you? So
yeah, we had quite a lot of success with that same post. Albeit doing it after you, but it was
as membership officer this year. Same.
It was amazing though, because the whole time it was like we were watching it just blow up. We were like, this whole time we just needed to go after the wives.
Yeah,
you can't trust men to
It's making that first step, isn't it? And they
the
amount of we did go around the room, say what you're looking for and stuff, and nearly everyone was like, I just needed a night away from the wife and kids. I'm like, well, perfect.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? We all know we get so much extra stuff from being part of table, but ultimately a lot of people they kind of join because we're looking for that night away, that little bit of disconnection from life, from busy working lives, from family life and stuff like that. Just be around like-minded people. And certainly that's something that table gives most people. I know that's why I joined. Didn't really have much of a social circle outside of what I do. And kind of never looked back from there. Hence, we're here, co-hosting a podcast and spreading the football love to multiple people and getting to speak to people from a place in Wales I never knew existed.
Yeah, well, that's it. You get out what you put in, don't you? It's a You can do anything. We remember during this year, during like January, February, and he was away in Sweden a month ago on a numbers meeting that he'd have never dreamed of going on even 3 months before that. So it's amazing what you can do out there if you've got the time and the inclination to want to do it. So super.
Yeah, definitely.
And taking that first step, isn't it? Because that's, even once you've joined, there's like, I think sometimes you're like, oh, I really enjoy doing the local stuff, and I've been invited to an area event, but I don't know if I'm going to go. And then it's like, well, just go, just do it, and then you won't look back, you know. And then the same goes for national, and then the same goes for international. It's, if you're with other tablers, you're going to be accepted. There's no like, there's no shunning of people at these events.
It's ready-made friends, isn't it? You know, like I joined table. I did like my first things in like May 2020 during lockdown. Did like an online beer tasting with D-side. I joined properly probably around September, and it was brilliant. And just get to know more and more people. That year, I went away on holiday, and I messaged like the nearest table nearby in Pembrokeshire. Messaged Narbeth and Whitland, and they picked me up, and we went out for a night in the beers. People I'd never met before, and in like 5 minutes, it's like old friends because you just got so much in common to talk about. So it's I would push everyone to just take that step and go out and just make more friends. Like the guys that I was on national accounts with last year are people I speak to every single day. You know, probably more than I speak to like members of my own family and stuff. It's
who hopefully aren't listening to this.
That bit. Hopefully that's not the wife. But yeah, no, I think I agree. You know, I went to, it was a couple of years ago now, I went out to Iceland on a family holiday, and I was actually sat in Hard Rock Cafe, and I got my tabletop on. Just randomly, I packed it. It was nice and fluffy and warm. And a guy walked over and he spotted the rondel on the design. And we're now friends. We speak regularly on Facebook. You know, paths just crossed randomly, and it was table that kind of brought us together. I mean, strangely enough, Penistone is actually twinned with the actual town that he comes from in Iceland. So there was that connection there.
Oh, wow.
We didn't know that before we actually sort of connected just randomly in a Hard Rock Cafe. And I think that's something that, you know, I will always take away from table, you know, even in years gone by, you know, when I age out, there's always somebody, no matter where you go, there's always somebody that's able to, you know, help you out, give you advice on the local area and stuff like that. It's such a great organization to be part of. And, you know, as membership officer, trying to sell that is sometimes quite difficult. It's my first year doing membership. So yeah, it's nice to know that obviously old tables that are getting recharted and stuff are having success from the new branding and the new direction that table has taken this year. I think it's been wholly positive on the whole. Yeah, certainly we've seen that. So hopefully everybody else has seen the same.
So for people who aren't very good with their Welsh geography, like me, whereabouts in Wales is Mold and Buckley?
So it's two towns, obviously, Mold and Buckley. They are separated by a village in the middle by about a mile. So we are in about as far sort of northeast as you can go in Wales. There's D-side's maybe a little bit more northern easterly, but we're right up in that corner. We're 20 minutes or so from Chester, about the same from Wrexham. So really sort of up in that corner there. Most people around here will have an accent, maybe a bit more Scouse or a bit more sort of Robbie Savage-esque, is how I usually think mine is. Rather than like your hardcore North Walians over like Bangor Carnarvon sort of way over there, yeah. Was
Robbie Savage from Wrexham originally?
Yeah, he's from Bradley, a village just outside Wrexham, yeah.
Oh, okay, right, yeah.
His nan still lives there. Yeah.
And your area, what area were you? 33, did you say? No, 33.
36.
Isn't it? 36, sorry. Yeah.
36. So we're North Wales and the Wirral and the Marches. So our area is Holyhead's the furthest out to the west. Then we've got Denbigh, D-side, Mold and Buckley, and Wrexham. We're all sort of quite tightly close together there. And then you've got Chester just over the border. And then on the Wirral, you've got Ellesmere Port, North Wirral, and Heswall. And then if there was stuff there, we'd go down sort of as far as about sort of not Shrewsbury, but the Welsh side of the border of Shrewsbury, down to about there. Geographically, it's probably pretty big. Yeah, I mean, it used so it, 36 historically was that, and when it hit 36 tables, it split in two, which was in the 70s sometimes. So there was Area 53, which was kind of the west side of it, and then last year there's only Holyhead and Denby left on Area 53. So I think Denby's a really close table to us. We do a couple of events with them a year, so we thought these guys would like benefit from being part of a bit more of an area structure and stuff. So they agreed to come and join Area 36. So we've sort of re-extended it again this year. So, but it seems to be going well. Again, it's making new friends. It's them knowing there's a bit more support network out there from and stuff. So it's going good.
Should we move on to talk about something else, so roundtable related, before we go on to the football, which is obviously everyone this year attended NSW, the National Sporting Weekend in Norwich, and it was great fun. Strongly advise people go if they've not heard of it or would like to go. But I know next year it's being held by you guys, isn't it? That's right.
It is, yeah. If I'd have known what a success Norwich was, I'd have been a bit more worried about bidding for it. Some pretty big beats to follow on it, but really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a bit different again, but I think that's important. I think it's, as great as Norwich was, if you just repackaged it again, it's only got a certain shelf life. I think you need to keep things fresh, keep things different, keep things interesting. You want to show off where you are doing it. So a couple of years ago, I was on the conference team for Blackpool, and I got talking, and I was thinking about doing a bid for NSW, because usually they're held at universities. So I looked at using Wrexham University. Thought it'd work really well. There's the accommodation there. There's the sports there. Like, you want a bit of history. It was just that the documentary had quite come out then, so I thought it worked really well. Except university were basically leveling everything and rebuilding a load of student accommodation and stuff, so it couldn't happen. So I kind of left it alone for a bit. And I got asked last year if I'd think about putting a bid in again. So I went away and looked at what else there was available, and we found this outdoor pursuit centre near us. So Buckley's badge has got a bit of a hill in the like a silhouette of it in the back, which is Moel Famau, one of the peaks on the Clwydian range here. And sort of in the shadow of that, there's this outdoor pursuit centre. I had a chat with them. They've never done anything like that before, but they thought it sounded really good fun. So so NSW 25, the Dragon Games, was born. So it's going to be a bit different, a bit more outside sort of stuff. We'll still have your traditional sports. There's still going to be football. There'll be dodgeball. There'll be the tug of war, and then we've got a bit more outdoor stuff. So there's archery, orienteering. There's all sorts of crazy climbing challenges and stuff. And then if you're not taking part in those sports, the site's got loads of other activities on. So there'll be stuff you can be doing that isn't winning points for your team, but you're still having fun rather than just being sat around. So that's where we're at now. We're there's some there's water sports available there, so a bit of rafting or a bit of paddleboarding if people want it. And then just the other week we went for one of our social nights. We went to a local farm that's got a gym on. And I got chatting with the fella there, and the Friday night's going to be a big campfire, a couple of roasted lambs. We get a band, we'll get a bar out, and we'll just muck around on a farm for the night, really. So, I'm really looking forward to sort of showing off where we are and what we do in our area. We're in Malden Buckley with like having fun, and there's some events in there which are going to be things that we kind of do as a social every year. We do a sports day, so we have like a sack race, but it's 4 of you in a ton sack, or a wheelbarrow race, which is someone getting pushed in a wheelbarrow around a course. We do human hungry hippos, like welly flicking, stuff like that, like just silly stuff that's really good fun. So yeah, it's good. It's an outdoorsy sort of. Yeah, it'd be funny. Like, you'll have bruises at the end of it, I'm sure, but it's really good fun.
That's the best way. What's fun without a few bruises? No, that actually sounds mint, to be fair. That sounds really, really good.
Yeah, and I'll address it. Like, a few people have been concerned about the accommodation, about being in blocks, but it's if we do like the biggest numbers I can, it will be 2 sharing a room. I think it's probably going to be 1, 2 if you want to. So it'll be really good fun. Your food's all in there. We've got great local beers around us as well. And if there's any absolute beer nerds out there, Polly's are from Mold. If they're friends of ours, they're giving us a load of beer for our Christmas Day thing, actually. But they're right by where we're having the Friday night. They'll hopefully be running one of the bars for us and stuff. So it'll be a one for people that like the beer as well.
You're putting a nice perimeter in to keep the sheep out and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, if you keep you
except
away from sheep,
except the roasted ones, obviously.
I was going to say, two of them are going to be unlucky.
Yeah.
That's the best I could come up with. At least
two, yeah.
Short notice.
Yeah, no. So I'm really looking forward to it. We're going to have the best, really good goodie bags as well. I think we've been spending a lot of time working on them. I think it'll be a good. I'd just advise you to book in. It'll be great fun. Get to see a different part of the world. I'm really sad that because it's a educational centre, we can't do like the early check-in on a Thursday and do some other stuff then. But I am working on something because I think we're going to end up doing our numbers meeting the same weekend. So there'll be a Euro 39 team involved as well. So
Brilliant.
See what that brings. Why do things by halves?
It is good fun in SW. I've done 4 of them now, so this will be the 5th for me. And yeah, and you're right. They've all been slightly different. They've all had different themes. They've all been obviously different parts of the country, and there is something brilliant about just not quite knowing what you're getting in. Like, if you know what the template is, it does get boring, doesn't it? So if it's a bit different, that's a good thing, I think.
I think so. And another thing we were saying about, sort of like, it feels like there's a bit of rejuvenation going on and stuff at the moment. I know there's quite a few bids people are thinking about doing for NSW for 2026. And that can only be a good thing if there's competition and people wanting to do stuff in the future as well. I think it's brilliant. It's what we want to see, isn't it? We don't want just someone feels like they've been forced into doing something. We want it to be exciting. We want it to be something people are enthused about doing. And I think that enthusiasm should go through to people that want to take part in it, and we end up with great events.
So if anyone listening wants to book into it, how do they go about doing that? Is there a website?
So it's on the main Roundtable Tickets site. I could send the link and we could put it in a description or something probably as well, just the one that goes straight to ours. Yeah. But so it's £230 for the weekend now. We could do that £40 deposit and then various payment options, how you want to pay for it, or you can pay it all in one go. There's some golf I'm going to add on. It's not going to be a price yet, but there'll be golf available. You want to do that, which is again trying to show off where we are. It's like our local golf club, but it's where we always have our business meetings and stuff there as well. So it's a real come to it and you'll feel like you're part of Mullen Buckley Round Table for a weekend, I think.
Brilliant.
Excellent. Well, get booked in, everyone. Let's move on to the main event, and let's have a chat about Welsh football. There's all sorts of directions this could go. Musical, political, football.
Yeah.
So I thought we'd start with, so your local club is Buckley Town.
Yeah.
So talk us through Buckley Town. Where do they play? Which league do they play in?
So they play in the Cymru North. So the Cymru Prem is our top division. It was previously known as the League of Wales. That's usually what it's called in like British press, but it's not. It's the Cymru Prem. So the teams you might know from that are the New Saints, previously known as Total Network Solutions. So they played Fiorentina last week. They're the first Welsh team to qualify for like a group stage European football. The other Welsh teams you know will be like your Wrexhams, Cardiffs, Swansea, Newport, and Merthyr. They all play in the English system. Colwyn Bay used to, but they've shifted back over into Wales now. So they play in the same league as Buckley Town do, which is the Cymru North. So Cymru Prem's the entire country, and then it splits into North and South regional leagues after that. So Buckley Town, yeah, they're my local team. They play. It used to be the Tip. It got levelled over. It's a football pitch now.
I thought I thought that was the name of the ground. I was like, that's a brilliant name.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but they're a great local side. Like, so like when I take my kids to school in the morning, I see a few kids in like Barcelona or Paris shirts, or Inter Miami a bit now. Obviously, quite a lot of Wrexham shirts, but the one I see most of is Buckley Town, because I think every kid that plays football must play for them in their various youth teams. Every adult must be coaching their kids there or something. So it's all you see. We've got quite a bit of a relationship with them, being like a kind of a community-minded club as well. So after COVID, they hadn't played at the ground for like 500 days. So we went down and we helped them mow the lawn and tidy it up, bit of painting here and there. And from that, we held our AGM there. Our first AGM, we only recharted in 2021. Had our AGM there. Paul Thompson, who was national president at the time, came down and he bought himself a Buckley Township. So it's his son actually. You can often see his son wearing a Buckley Township, which must be the only one in Hartlepool. So yeah, great side. The great thing about the Welsh League is it starts really early. It starts in sort of July and then finishes in about April. So you get like a really good run at the start of the season of evening games when the sun's out. Being the level it is, Buckley Town's got a lovely terrace, so you can just go and stand on the terrace, drink a beer and watch the football, which isn't something you get to do very often. So always really keen to get involved. Really good local community club is what you want, really.
Absolutely.
We talked about this last time. So in the last episode, we were talking about non-league football and trying to get a head around the English football. The Welsh system just seems a lot more, not simple, but just, I guess it's geographically it makes way more sense. The English one it blew my mind last month.
Yeah, it's got so many levels through it, hasn't it?
But one of the things we referenced was how great it is to just be able to have a pint, take the pint and just watch your team play, and just no one chucks their pints on the pitch. I don't know if there needs to be another conversation about this, like higher up because I kind of feel like to a level that probably wouldn't happen. I don't know.
It's little stuff like if I go and buy a pie, I know it's probably come from like the local butchers or the bakers, and I know that the money from that pie will go probably into like under 8s football team or something like that. Like it's not paying someone's ridiculous wages. It's going back into the community. That's what I want for my football. I see the players down the pub and stuff. See them out running and stuff. It's
proper grassroots, that, isn't it?
Yeah, like if you lose a player, it's because they moved house, not because they're like important.
There's some really aggressive rules actually to do with player transfers at that level, aren't there? Like so a lot of the players, they aren't actually they're on like weekly contracts, aren't they? So it's pretty brutal for the players, but equally it means the players can just walk away at like a minute's notice. If they get another offer, or if they get a contract offer from a bigger, I don't know, one of the Premiership teams in the Welsh Premiership. I guess it can be a bit brutal, can't it? Like, I know they struggle with that at Biddericke Town a bit.
I guess it can. I mean, at the top of the Welsh, the Cymru Prem, there's been a few transfers into sort of League Two and stuff recently over the last couple of years. There's a lad just gone from the New Saints somewhere for. It was daft. Where was? I'm trying to remember what it was. It came up in the football group anyway, but some transfer that just seems absolutely wild, like Football Manager stuff. Yeah. So
looking at Welsh football generally, I guess, where do you think it is? So it seems to be on an upward trajectory.
More or less. I mean, we were starting from a pretty low point. I mean, the Bobby Gould years are probably like the lowest bits of it. Like losing to Leyton Orient was pretty low. Bobby Gould designing his own kit. That's probably not great. I think we've always been blessed with like some really world-class players. I mean, John Charles was voted like Juventus' greatest ever player. So we've always had these players with, the Ian Rushes, the Dean Saunders. It's just they've always had some absolute donkeys with them at the same time. And I think sort of, Toshak started it in sort of the early 2010s with, you've just realised he had sort of blood players. So there's people that'll be able to talk better about it than me. But so that's why you had like Gunter, Bale. They all made their debuts at like 17. They're hitting 22 and they've got 50 caps under their belts. I mean, you see it with Ampadu now. I mean, sadly he's injured till the new year. But it's just, if you're good enough, you're old enough, chucking him in. And it was rough for a few years, but I think with Speed and then Coleman, it really sort of really came together. And you saw that with 2016 of a squad that was like really together. I think the big thing to put into this as well is that it was like a whole review of it from the FAW, because you've got Cardiff and Swansea fans that hate each other. You've got Wrexham and Newport fans that hate each other. You've got, weirdly, there's a load of people in Bristol that are Welsh supporting who hate Cardiff and Swansea and Newport. And then you've got like the Carnarvon and Bala fans who hate everyone. So it was like Wales away just used to be fighting. And then it worked really hard to sort of leave that behind. It's like together stronger was the motto. It kind of still is. But yeah, it's that's something about the Welsh psyche, that there's nothing we love more than an unnecessary scrap with ourselves about something. Like all these people that go, you always get the stories about, I was in a pub and they hate English. Like, not as much as we hate other Welsh people. That's like, you're part of it. It's yeah, so the 2016 is probably like the absolute highlight there. I mean, that's the best summer of my life. My daughter was born then. She was due the day of England Wales in the Euros. And I'm like, come on, like, it doesn't happen every time, does it? I'm gonna have to go to the pub to watch this. So I got away with that. She was born the day of Wales destroying Russia, and apart from her birth, the 1st of July when we beat Belgium, was the greatest day of my life. So yeah, since then, I mean, that's a highlight. There's been a few ups and downs. I mean, qualifying for the World Cup was amazing. We didn't have the best performance. We were there, but it was nice to be there. But I think that's kind of the mentality we've got to get rid of now, of it being nice to be there, or we used to be shit. I think we rightly expect a bit more now, and I think that's why Page had to go. Really excited by Bellamy in the last two qualifying games. So looking forward to seeing him Friday night against Iceland. And we've got to demand more. We've got to expect more. I think the squad we've got now is probably more talented than the 2016 squad. I don't think it has like a standout world-class player quite the same like Bale or Ramsey or even Allen at the time were. But I think there's a lot more balance to it across. I'd like a keeper that played games occasionally, but I think other than that, it's really strong across the board, and there's plenty of depth in there as well. So I've got strong hopes going forward with Bellamy. Yeah.
So how are you doing at the moment in terms of the Nations League? I've totally lost track of where everyone is.
Yeah. So
what league everyone's in?
Yeah. So we've got Turkey, Montenegro, and Iceland in our group. We played Turkey at home first game. Played them off the park, but it finished 0-0. But there was a lot of, Bellamy's only had like 2 days, and before that, we're really everyone's really pleased with how it was. We went out to Montenegro, played in essentially a monsoon, and we're 2-0 up after like 124 seconds. And that was basically it for the game. I was just convinced it was going to get called off because the weather was that bad. 1-2-1 in the end, probably holding on a bit at the end. I don't like keepers playing out from the back. It really makes me nervous.
You and Sam Allardyce.
I've got no interest in it. I don't want them to be able to do that. They can kick it off and they can pick it up and they can boot it. That's what I want them to do. No, but I'm really excited. We've got Iceland Friday night in Reykjavik, and then we've got Montenegro back in Cardiff on Monday night. So I'd like to think that's probably 6 points we can take there, and that puts us in a really good position to get promoted back up to the top level of the Nations League. I know you're saying before you don't like the Nations League, but as a Welsh football fan, I think it's brilliant. I think it's allowed us to play against better sides, and it's really helped us learn how to see those games out. I think we used to get away with being underdogs and kind of hitting people on the counter, and I think it was a while where people got wise to it, and we didn't know how to play off that. We didn't really know how to play on the front foot and take a game to people, and I think we've learned that from playing better sides more, so that's good. And I think for the sides, like, did you see like San Marino winning their first game and stuff? It means the world to them rather than just getting tonked.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
it's nice. I think you get competitive games that if it was just friendlies, I don't think you would have got. So, an alternative viewpoint for the Nations League there.
No, it's fair. It's a fair one as well. I mean, we probably have a slightly different. It is easy to sort of not see that side of things when in a way. I mean, it's different for England fans. I guess it's different because the Nations League for some nations is a way in, isn't it, to the Euros? Is it just the Euros or?
I think it does the World Cup as well. I guess your playoffs. But I think what it is like a lot of Welsh football fans are like I'm a Welsh fan. I'm a fan of Wales, Cymru before I'm a fan of anyone else. Yeah. So like I've got a domestic break I have to deal with between games. I think a lot of England fans are probably, they're Arsenal, they're United, they're Liverpool fans before they're an England fan and stuff. So it's I think that's where the difference is there.
And you know what? That's a really interesting point because I don't think it's always been that way. I couldn't pinpoint you the exact moment where my mentality shifted, but I definitely, if you said to me now, you have the option between Arsenal winning the European Cup and England winning the Euros, or actually no, let's go big, World Cup. It probably would be Arsenal. Which is really bad, isn't it?
Club football above national.
But
I couldn't tell you when. Go on.
I think we're really lucky in Wales that because of Ep3, our broadcaster, we can we can watch all our games on terrestrial TV as long as you watch them in Welsh. And I'm not first language Welsh, but if you can't watch football and understand what the commentary is, you're doing it wrong. It's really easy. So are England games on Sky most of the time? Does that stop people watching them?
I don't know what they're on. They're mostly on channel.
They're outside the tournaments.
I think they're all on
Sky, aren't they?
ITV, BBC.
I think most of them are terrestrial. Yeah, I think.
Is that not tournaments? I thought your Euros and your World Cups will all be on that, but I thought the friendlies, or not the friendlies, your Nation Leagues or your other ones, the qualifiers, I thought they were more kind of, if it's not Sky, it's those other ones that are awful.
I think we have had a couple recently where they have actually been on Sky rather than on the normal terrestrial, as you call it. I know everything's digital nowadays, but yeah, we have had a few that have been sort of mainly on Sky and stuff like that. And
it stops almost a generation from watching games, doesn't it? You've seen it with the same with cricket and stuff. The money's been brilliant, but has it sort of stifled stuff at another level?
I won't. Yeah, cricket is such a great example as well. I remember, maybe we're not going to get into cricket too much because it's not a cricket podcast, but I remember the Ashes. Yeah, exactly. I remember the Ashes in was it 2005 when we won the Ashes and we hadn't beaten the Australian team in about 15 years or something ridiculous, and that was fully broadcast. It was all on Channel 4, I think.
All on Channel 4, wasn't it? Yeah.
And I remember I basically spent the whole summer watching cricket. And I fully watched it from whenever they start in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, through till just watching this, these storylines develop. And I really and that made me realize, as soon as that went and disappeared, don't watch it anymore. Not interested in it because it's not accessible.
It's the same in the Olympics, though. If it's on TV, you watch it, won't you? So you just get really into handball or water polo for a couple of days, don't you? Yeah. If it's not there, if you can't watch it, how are you supposed to? And if you're a kid, how are you supposed to have an understanding and knowledge, know about it? It's I don't know. There's great. It's great some of the money it's brought in and stuff, but like I think cricket it's not a cricket podcast, I know, but just one on it. There's the 100, and it's not one for the purists, but it's on terrestrial quite a lot. So there's people can watch some cricket. I mean, if people could watch some football, it's all the better for it.
Definitely.
So going back to, so you referenced about 26 because we're gonna do a bit more of a deeper dive into 2016 and obviously how well, brilliant for you. I mean, I don't remember what happened in 2016. Do you, Tris? It was all a bit of a. It just something happened between June and August, and then but yeah, I don't remember any of it.
Yeah, for me, it was more the inconvenience of it basically taking off my gigs at the time and being like, well, for fuck's sake, I've got to sit in this pub in Wales and watch what? And play Portugal? Fuck. Yeah, so yeah. I'm not the best with Welsh football, international or club level, so I'm probably not the best person to sort of answer this one.
It was, I remember watching it and thinking, because we were in the same group as you, weren't we? And I remember when that draw happened, thinking, well, England Wales, that's a banker, 3 points. And then after the first game, it was like I watched how we played.
And in fairness, we were right.
That's true. But that game, going into that game, that could have put, because we went 1-0 down, didn't we? Didn't you take the lead?
Yeah, Bale scored a free kick just for half time.
The free kick,
almost the halfway line. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yes.
Palpitations.
Yeah, and so it was absolutely bonkers. So I had all these plans to go out to France that summer. I've got mates that went out thinking they'd go for a day and stayed out for a month. I've got a mate who had to delay his wedding by a year because he maxed out all the credit cards and stuff staying out there.
Brilliant.
That is a difficult conversation.
Sorry,
it was a mad summer. But I opened a restaurant the day of Wales-Slovakia, the opening game, like the first day of it being open. So I managed to finish in time to watch the game, and all I wanted was to not embarrass ourselves. And so to get the win from it with the scuffiest goal from Harold Kanu, absolutely off his shin, I was like, this is brilliant. We've won some points at a tournament. I never thought I'd see that. England, less said of it better. It was my daughter should have been born that day. It's a really good job she wasn't. She was born the day of Wales-Russia, at midnight, so she was home in time to sit up and watch it with me. And that's the most complete Wales performance I think I'd ever seen at the time. And you just felt like something had sort of changed. Northern Ireland game, I just remember it being absolutely horrible, really scruffy game. And I want to draw anyone but a home nation because it's just they're going to know you better. They're going to just Northern Ireland were such a scrappy team at the side at the time, and then Belgium, I was never worried about playing Belgium. We'd had a number a couple of times. We'd had them in qualifying, and we'd drawn and would beat them. So I was never felt that nervous about it. I remember watching it. I was in the pub with a couple of mates and brother, and they scored that screamer from outside the box. Nainggolan, was it? Who used to play for Roma. Absolute screamer. And you think, well, if we're going to lose, we'll lose to a goal like that. And then Williams scored headers for just before half time. So we're in at 1-1. You're like, oh, this is mad. And then, the Robson Kanu goal was pretty incredible. But then that's
immortalised, isn't it?
Yeah, it was amazing. But then I just spent, until Vogt scored about 20 minutes later, I just spent 20 minutes sort of at the bar with my head in my hands going, we'll fuck it up from here. I know we will. And it's going to break my heart. And then Vogt scored that goal. So a lot of people think the Howells and Carney is the most iconic goal. It's the Vogt's one that's the most iconic one because it's a proper fucking header, that is. As soon as this cross comes in, you know it's going in. And I remember just the relief through my body when that happened. I'll still maintain that if Ben Davis and Ramsey hadn't been suspended, we'd have beat Portugal and we'd have gone on to the final. But we'll never know, will we?
Yeah, I'm just really sorry that we actually signed Ashley Williams on the back of that run. The less said about that, the better.
I'm sad you did as well, because it's kind of made him a worse player. He was really good.
Wasn't he a Swansea player?
There was talk of him signing for Arsenal then as well.
He's an Arsenal fan, isn't he? Have I made that up?
Yeah, he is.
I think he is,
But he was really good for Swansea, wasn't he? I remember watching him as he was in that squad, wasn't he? When they had who's that striker they had that was
Joe Island, Michu.
Michu, yeah. He was fantasy football gold, basically.
Well, I had him that year just as a complete, just when you're just trying to pick just someone cheap to fill the last spot. I had him and I was like, this is going well.
Yeah. I think he went to a Premiership team as well and then was not as good. I can't remember.
He had terrible injuries. He went back. I know he finished his career at his third division club in Spain, or Oviedo or something, I think it was.
Right.
He retired really young with injuries, yeah. He's had a bit of a Swansea legend, I think, him, yeah.
So obviously 2016 was amazing. 2022, less so. What was different? What was it that you just didn't get going? Is that because the thing is, I mean, there is one thing that obviously World Cups are brutal, and they are a lot harder than the Euros. That's just a given, isn't it? I guess because of the breadth of teams that you've got there and the different styles, I guess, and it was the first time you'd been there for a while. So I don't know. What did you think? What do you think went wrong, and what should have been done differently?
I don't know. I think we weren't quite in the same sort of vein of form going into it. We had a really strong we got to the playoffs. We had a really strong game against Austria, and then we played Ukraine. And this was about 4 months after the war had kicked off, hadn't it? I think everyone in the world wanted Ukraine to win. I think there was people saying "Oh, Wales should just step aside and let Ukraine qualify." Fuck off! You wouldn't say that if it was you. Yeah, I think there's a lot of players not in football, a lot of players not playing for their clubs. Bale was kind of on the back end of his career. I think he was still probably our best player, but it was just in 2016, everyone was playing fairly regularly for their clubs and playing well, and there was a really solid team together. I think it'd be easy to jump on a slagging Rob Page off bandwagon. I think having seen what we've got with Bellamy coming through, maybe he could have been tactically a bit stronger, but he was there. He filled in for Ryan Giggs when he was disgraced, and there was never any reason to sack him. He qualified for stuff. He kept us going. The players all loved him, but I think we just need someone. There's such a talented group of players. It needs someone who knows how to use them a bit better. And I think when Page went last year, I think that was probably the right time before kind of any legacy was undone from it. I'm still really pleased to have been to a World Cup. It was a bit about when we go out and start bobbins against Denmark and fell apart and got a red card in the last couple of minutes and stuff. And we did pretty much the same against Iran, didn't we? Hennessy comes charging off his line to knock someone out, and it was poor show. We're better than that. It's what it is, isn't it? At least we've been there. I've seen it in my lifetime, so hopefully we'll see the next one. Not to qualify for Germany, though. That's the most Welsh thing ever, to qualify for the other side of the world in a bloody dry country and then not qualify for Germany, the greatest place to watch football in the world. So but hopefully I'll be off to Mexico or Canada or America in a couple of years' time.
Oh, I really want to go. I really, really want to go. Trying to figure out how I can make it, financially and logistically possible. Love to go to the next World Cup. But we'll see.
Podcast trip. Woohoo!
Yeah, we need to have a conversation about that, making it fun. We start a GoFundMe page now.
Absolutely. Right now. Go for this. Let's go.
Might be frowned upon, but
we need some better
We're
round
the
tables
charity.
in North America, don't we?
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Well, I'm already wearing the Inter Miami shirt, so yeah, support US football.
Yeah, supporting the haircut of Messi and everything else.
If we were doing American shit, I worked in just outside DC for a little bit, so did a tour of DC United's old stadium, and they opened the club shop specially for me, which was really nice of them. So that's nice.
Were they one of the original teams, DC United? Because the league was much smaller, wasn't it?
Yeah, they were. Yeah, I think they So it was that they had to start a league properly, didn't they, for their World Cup bid 24? And I think they I think they had some clubs, and then it shrank a bit, and then it's grown. It must be well over 20 odd sides now, wasn't it? It's
yeah, I think so. It's really tricky because their league is. But it's all franchise teams, isn't it? So they don't. It's like their other sports. They don't have promotion or relegation because it's just not built into the American model of doing things. Like, I want to invest, I want my investment to come good.
Yeah, and they've got there's two LA teams, isn't there? Is it LA United and Galaxy?
Yeah, Galaxy and
the derby's called El Trafico.
Yes, because of the motorway. Is it the motorway?
Yeah. But like it's these like manufactured rivalries. I think it's really funny. It's like hating someone just because you're told to. Like you need years of.
That's kind of what we do as well, isn't it? I mean, let's be honest. I don't have any legitimate reason to dislike someone wearing a Spurs shirt other than the fact that they're wearing a Spurs shirt. There's never been any sort of,
Try saying that's like River Boca or something. Like there's years of tension there.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's different.
But yeah, maybe you're right. And I grew up a Tranmere fan, and I still always look out for him. So I have complete and utter hatred of Bolton Wanderers, and not a good word to say about them ever.
I do. In fairness to the Americans, and I don't want to dunk on their football or soccer as they call it.
That's a whole other podcast, by the way.
That is a whole other podcast, but they've made it their own, and it's nice to see the sport growing over there because I think it deserves to grow. I know it's not as popular as other sports, but be very interested. We have definitely got a few people who download this podcast from the US. So if you're listening to this from the US and you want to come on and talk about American football, post something in the comments and we'll have you on.
Do you remember they used to do those weird shootout things?
Yes, with the
they used to do those weird.
The moving one from the halfway line. You have to
one starts like the halfway line. The keeper's halfway back or something, isn't it? It was wild. That's like one innovation we could bring back. The rest of it seems to have they've sort of remembered the rules of football and then like embraced like the immigrant communities that like it there, because they just ignored like Latinos and Polish and Germans for years when they were building the clubs. And I think they've kind of embraced that back again now. If you look at like the US national squad, there's some really exciting players in there. I mean, not many of them play in America, but there's a lot of Air Force kids as well, like Landon Donovan was, and you've got like Timothy Weir and then like Claudio Reyna and Claudio Reyna, it's his son called. Yeah, there's some really exciting players out there. I think there's a solid squad there. I think they've really comes. They've been like really badly mismanaged as like coaching and federation standards. I think it's just let like a whole generation go to waste. It seems like.
They've definitely got the money to invest in making that a US men's national team squad really good. The question, I think, a lot of their top elite sort of performing sportsmen will go to the baseball or to the American football or to the other sports, don't they? I think that's part of the problem, possibly. But they've definitely got the ability to compete on that level. But my God, if they ever win the World Cup, we'll never hear the end of it. We'll never hit it. I'll have to literally dig a hole in the ground and live there for 4 years until the next World Cup.
That's something
like that.
Yeah, we're seeing that sort of in the women's game, aren't we? Is it Emma Hayes? Was she the?
Emma Hayes is the ex. She's now their coach. She was the Chelsea coach.
So she was Chelsea, who obviously took them to pretty much success apart from Champions League. She won everything, didn't she? And she's now their coach. And yeah, maybe she can kind of reinvigorate their love for soccer. Oh, God, it pains me to say soccer. I don't like that.
But apparently we called it soccer at one point.
Yeah, because it's rugby football, isn't it? And soccer was association football or something like that.
Yeah.
American football.
It's not right, is it? Peldroy, if we were having a Welsh episode, that's what it is.
That crap. It's not football.
Anyway, let's get back to talking about Wales. We've deviated. This is what happens.
Is it time to do the quiz yet?
No, not yet. soon. The only other thing, we have a bona fide Welshman here, and I wanted to touch on the whole thing about singing Welsh fans basically being better than everyone else at singing, and I don't understand it. Is it genetic? Because I've stood in stadiums and listened to absolute horror shows, and then I remember going to. But this is rugby, actually, not football. But I know it happens at football as well. Going to the rugby to watch England play Wales in the Six Nations, and it was out of this world. Like that, it was like they were actually all following the conductor. So yeah, talk us through that. How does that work?
I mean, there's obviously a hefty tradition of singing. A lot of that's more rugby based. A lot more like chapel Welsh. So you'll always hear hymns. You hear like Calan Lan and stuff at the rugby. But the football, we've always felt. This is how we are in Wales. Is rather than just being able to support football and rugby, there's a lot of people who tie their colours to one mast to the other because there's nothing we like more than a stupid scrap with ourselves about it. I don't know, it's become a real part of like fan culture in especially the football. We've had when we were sort of before 2016 sort of modernized and everything like that, we had like so rather than sort of trying to get rid of fan groups so we had a band called the Barry Horns who were like a brass band that come to games. So rather than kind of try and sideline them, we're like, well, people like them, let's give them a great stage to play their songs on and stuff. So there's a lot of sort of Welsh, sort of a lot of the chants came from that. The anthem, I don't know, it's a really good anthem. It's the same, like the Brittany, Bretons in France, they have the same anthem. So Jordan James is just signed for Stade Rennais, and he was amazed to find out the Breton anthem's the same. So he really enjoyed that. I think at a player level, so there's a lot of dual nationality players in Wales. It's I know after 2016, there's a lot of, they're sort of England rejects or not. Well, it's not. It's a lot of people have dual nationality in Wales in that sense. Like a lot of, like, I've got English, Irish in my family. But they're really keen on teaching players the anthem and things when they join. So you've had players like David Brooks, who played for Wales under 20s, played for England under 20s, and couldn't wait to come back and play for Wales. So I think when we get him, we get him. The only player I've ever known who's chose England over Wales is Rob Jones from the 90s for Liverpool. People say Michael Owen, but he was never eligible at the time. So I think it's sort of drummed into him. I don't know about the fans. Yeah, I think it's just something to be passionate about. I think if you're kind of, I'm trying to say it without sounding like a massive Welsh nash, but when you're kind of the smaller end of the thing, you've got that kind of rebellious, that kind of it's on a this is somewhere we can show them who we are, and I think that's where it comes through. So the iconic anthems. So there's when we played Austria in the 2022 World Cup qualifiers, Ben Woodburn comes on, and the anthem starts up and he scores within a minute. So that's a pretty good one. And then it would be sort of before Austria and Ukraine for the World Cup qualifiers. They were massive. And that's when David Ewan sort of came along. So he's like a Welsh language singer. He was a Plaid Cymru politician, and he wrote this song in the 80s. It was about how, again, not to go into like a nationalist rant, but like there was times when if you spoke Welsh in school, you'd have to have like a thing around your neck saying the Welsh not. It was like almost beat out of people. There's like generations of people that didn't speak it. There's villages that got drowned that never got a chance. To like give water to Liverpool and stuff. So it's a really important thing, this Welsh language and heritage, to a lot of people. And the song Umar Heed is about saying we're still here despite everything and everyone. We're still here. And so it's always been used by Wrexham Football Club. It's always been used by Scarlets, Llanelli Rugby. And it kind of just slowly came into sort of the Welsh football sort of zeitgeist over the last few years. And it's ended with like David Ewan coming out and singing before games and stuff, which has always gone down really well. I think the success of the football team's also been really big for the success of being proud about being Welsh. Compared to the WRU, the FAW are really, really strong at using Welsh language wherever they can. So all their announcements for squads will always be in Welsh. Or Welsh first. Don't get me started on feathers and dragons. So I think it's been a really positive move from them. I think they've really judged the mood of the country right on it. That people are proud of being Welsh, and something that sets us apart. Kind of part of that is the language and culture there as well that needs to be sort of recognised. So
preserved as well. I think that's an important thing.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't speak Welsh first language, but I'm a keen learner. My daughters all have Welsh names. My wife's first language. It's not a hobby; it is used every day. So it's something that should be recognised properly.
Well, it's on all the signs, isn't it? Is that that's how you know you're in Wales. Or like you start looking at the road signs, like, oh right, yeah, we've got now. Like it's I think it's a really strong part of having that identity. I think, and that song is pretty good. I literally stumbled across it doing some research for this podcast.
It's pretty rousing, isn't it? When there's 20,000 people singing it. Yeah.
I mean, I've got no ties to Wales at all, and I felt pretty like I was like, oh, I'll take up a sword right now and do like you can't help but move to it, can you? It's iconic, you know. As English as we are, we recognise the reason why they sing it, and that's the important thing.
I will try and I'll try and include it in this podcast if I can. If it doesn't breach copyright law, which it might. If not, I might post a link in the chat. So if anyone wants to have a listen to it, it's quite a rousing rendition.
There's a Welsh rapper called Sage Todds, and he samples it to do like a kind of, what do you call it, like a kind of drill song in Welsh as well. So it's really crossed the genres.
Okay, right. I'll have to try and find that as well. It's not really my sort of cup of tea drill, but yeah.
No, it's well out there.
It's time for you to do the quiz, Cole. How are you feeling? Are you feeling you feeling confident?
So I was chatting to Tris earlier, and because I'm guessing neither of you's got much knowledge about Welsh football, which means that it's really hard for you to gauge whether a question's easy or hard. So it's either going to be a really good score for me or awful.
I as always,
That's my feeling.
what I say to everyone, that this quiz is fair. We've gone down the route. So Buckley Town was too niche. we were just, and I thought that you'd probably end up with a load of questions that would be impossible to answer. So we've gone broadly for Welsh international football trivia because I felt like that's fair. People might complain who've done it already.
If I was going on Mastermind, that would be my topic. So this would be good.
Well, there we go. That's you're setting your stall out now. Right. Well, it's the same rules as before. Then, so you've got 90 seconds to answer as many questions as you can correctly. Tris does the timing, and I've got the questions in front of me. So, if you're ready, I don't know. Are you ready, Tris?
Yeah, let's go.
I'm ready.
Right, Tris, you count us in.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Time away.
Okay, question 1. How many times have the Welsh men's national team qualified for the World Cup finals?
Twice.
Very good. Question 2. What was Wales' biggest win on the international stage?
Is it 7-1? That's biggest loss. 5-1.
But you went lower. That's incorrect. We'll come back to that in a bit. Question 3. In a 1958 World Cup finals in Sweden, how many matches did Wales win in the initial stage of qualifying Group 3?
1.
That's incorrect. Where was a former Welsh international Peter Nichols born?
I have no idea. Chester.
That's incorrect. How many goals did Wales score in the 1988 European Championship qualifiers? This is a difficult question, sorry.
That's a bit niche, isn't it? I think 84 would be Spain. I don't know, 7.
That's correct. I don't know how you got that, but yeah, we'll go there. Next question.
3 seconds left.
Which player holds the record for most appearances for the Wales men's national team?
Gareth Bale.
That's correct.
There we go. Time is up.
Oh, very good. There we go. See, it wasn't that bad.
You beat Shepp.
Yeah, all right.
How many was that, Tris?
3.
3. That's good. I would say 3 is par for the course for this. I think as we're going through these now, I think 2 or 3 is about right. Anyone who gets 7 and I'm like, oh, I've done this wrong. I've made this too easy. Who was it who got set? Oh, it's Matt Jakeman, wasn't it? Matt Jakeman. Yeah. Matt Jakeman, when he did it last year, we did a Villa quiz for him. Yeah, and that man had an encyclopedic knowledge of Villa. It was ridiculous.
It's like superhuman.
You did well. You got the World Cup finals correctly. So that was 1958 and 2022. The biggest win on the international stage was, and I mean, none of us were alive, so it was 11-0 versus Ireland in 1888. So,
all right.
One for the record book. So, 1958 World Cup finals in Sweden, Wales won none of their qualifying group games. Although, in your defence, right. I think one of the teams that you played in that group was the Brazil side with a 17-year-old Pele. So
it was Pele, yeah.
That's probably.
No, I think we went out to. I thought we went out to them in the qualify. I thought we went out to them in the next round.
Maybe you did. You know what? I don't actually know what was. I don't know what the format was back in those days.
I know we played. I know the one about Pele because that's daft. And how stupid Welsh football was is we didn't take a full complement of side with us. We left a few substitutes that we could have took at home because the officials of the FAW wanted to take their wives with them to Sweden. So it was more important they went than players, apparently.
Nice to know that football's not changed over the years.
Yeah.
what was the next question? Former Welsh international player Peter Nichols was born in Newport. You got the number of goals Wales scored in 1988 European Championship qualifiers, and you got Gareth Bale as the player who's held the most appearances for the men's national team. So that's a pretty respectable effort.
Yeah,
Cole.
it would have been fish slot for the women. Well, thank you.
Right. Well, that brings us to the end of this episode. This is obviously our October episode. We as always, there'll be another episode next month. Next month, we get to talk about Arsenal, and we're going to get some people on to talk about Arsenal, and everyone's going to hate it, but we get to do it at least once. So we're going to talk about Arsenal. I'm going to add some rules in so we don't go too. People don't end up switching off because we, just talking ourselves up too much. So there's gonna be some rules which I'll dream up, I think, over the next month. So the next one's gonna be on Arsenal, and we've got them planned out for the rest of the year now. I think we've got quite a few really good ones. I think after that it'll be a Christmas special, which I've also dreamt up in my head, but I haven't actually written down what we're gonna do. But it's gonna be good.
It's going to be good. I think we have to talk about the amazing pin badges as well.
Oh, that's a good point. I forgot about the pin badge. Hang on, let me
just
just
sort of coming on.
Yeah, hang on. Oh, I've got one out here. So we have got, which for people not in round table, well, actually, if you're an Olympian, you'll be well versed in this because apparently they do the exact same thing. We collect pin badges. So the football podcast. Hang on, where's the camera? Football podcast has now got its own. So everyone who comes on the podcast gets a pin badge. That's the rule. And so these are highly coveted, more coveted than Blue Peter badges.
If you weren't alive in 1990, you will have no idea what the hell it looks like. But aside from that, everybody that was, it's amazing.
Will they get you museums for free?
They don't. You can try. I don't. I don't. It depends how good your blagging skills are. But unfortunately, we haven't got any sponsors or any deals negotiated with museums or Alton Towers. But But anyway, so one will be winging its way to you, Cole. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Absolute pleasure.
And we'll see you all next time.
Take care, everyone.
Au revoir.